right. Good morning, Checkmate crew. It's the opening bell of the New York Stock Exchange, 9:30 a.m. on this Thursday, October 27th, 2022. It's Mickey Blindside here with your market memo. Okay, so we just had earnings come out for Meta, which is Facebook. Okay, so let's take a look at what's going on now. They're continuing they're continuing with their push for this metaverse, and the street did not like that. They said that they may see actually increased costs as they develop this new reality, this metaverse of theirs. This, it is viewed as a not so viable plan to generate revenue within the next 10 years. Okay, so they're really focusing on something that really it's hard to monetize. And this is actually something that happened in the late 90s as well. During the dot-com crash, a lot of companies started investing in things too far down the road where they weren't really focused on current earnings, and they kept focusing on the future, and it was uncertain whether or not they were going to make money. The one company that comes to mind is Yahoo. Okay, Yahoo was just one of those companies that was like that, and we all know what happened to Yahoo. It had a slow death that lasted almost over 10 years after that point. And it just slowly just kept crumbling and crumbling and crumbling away. I think Meta is going to do that same thing. I think Meta, I've been saying this in the Discord, I think this is the next candidate for a mid-cap stock. It'll probably get down even more. And what a shame. It used to be a mega cap. Actually, there's Dow components now that are bigger, like Merck. There's some healthcare companies now that are bigger than Meta now. Meta is not as big as it once was, even earlier this year. So there you go. Meta, your next mid-cap stock. Not yet, but I think it will. I think within a couple of years, if they keep doing what they're doing, that will be a mid-cap stock. Okay. Other things in the ER news. I'm still waiting for the transcript for McDonald's. They just had their call, and it just ended. McDonald's actually surprised to the upside. Just from the initial glance, it looks like they actually are making some gains on their pricier menu options. So I know a lot of companies are raising costs, raising their prices, especially restaurant companies. And so I think that has been viewed as relatively positive. They probably got some positive responses from their customers about this. Probably, customers are willing to pay that. And I'm going to be looking for that earnings transcript. It should be coming out within the next couple of hours. And so I'll try to report to you guys on this tomorrow. The reason why I track McDonald's is because I track, we're in a lot of those food plays. And so McDonald's gives you very good color on what is going on in the food market. Right now we're in PPC. Look at that. PPC's gapping up. Did they just have earnings as well too? Oh, they had earnings. I didn't even know. PPC had earnings. So PPC had earnings. Beat to the upside. My buy-in was like $28. So I'm still down a little bit, okay? But it looks like PPC is coming up. Man, I should have bought some more shares here. Remember we were looking for a bottoming signal? Well, didn't know that earnings was coming up for this. But there you go. All right. So it looks like PPC, I'll go over the PPC numbers too. I didn't know that the earnings had come out, so I'll go over those numbers, and I'll try to have that to you guys tomorrow as well. Okay? So there's that. After the close of the bell today, we're going to have Apple earnings. This is going to be the huge one, okay? Are they doing, basically what Wall Street is looking for is, are they still doing share buybacks or not? Okay? Are they doing share buybacks or not? And if they are, I can see QQQ having a little bit of a more of a relief rally. If not, well, this thing could sell off. Apple has been buying up their shares. They have a lot of cash. We'll see what happens. I don't want to speculate on what happens with Apple. Also, Amazon will also be coming out with earnings after the bell today as well. I think more important than anything else is the dollar. We saw the dollar actually make, on a daily basis, a lower low. This is a first major lower low since 2021. I don't think we saw a major lower low or a lower high since early 2021. I think this was it. Yeah, this was it. Maybe June. Maybe you might consider June to be the lower low, or January of 2021, whichever one you consider to be the lower low. On a closing basis, I think it was January. So yeah, it is January. So since January 2021, we have been in this large uptrend. Okay, if we look at the weekly chart, it's a little bit better. So yeah, since January 2021, we have not had a lower low like that on at least on a daily scale. Okay. So I think if the dollar keeps coming down, and also the euro, all right, if the euro also keeps going up, we could see a lot of these euro dollar accounts, a lot of cash leave euro dollar accounts and get invested. Okay, and that would be a risk on signal. So the euro and the dollar. Okay, if the dollar keeps going down, euro keeps going up, that is going to be tailwind for risk on assets. British pound, same thing. British pound is on its way up too. The nomination of Rishi as the prime minister, basically that's very, at least the business world is taking that as a positive signal. You know, he's a billionaire, ex-banker. I mean, what's there not to love about this guy if you're Wall Street or if you're the financial services industry? So, you know, ex-Goldman banker, billionaire, it's looked on as good for business. So we'll see, okay? So I think if the British pound keeps going up, euro keeps going up, dollar keeps coming down, we could see some tailwinds in risk assets. Speaking of currencies right now, also the US dollar Japanese yen pair is starting to come back down a little bit. And then I think if this goes down, if this starts coming down too, that will be a chain reaction. We'll see the dollar really start coming down. And at the same time, we might see gold really rally. Okay, if the Japanese yen starts, the US dollar Japanese yen chart really falls down, I think gold will go way up. Okay, we might see gold just shoot right up. Okay, we did have a plan to buy some gold miners. I missed that chance. You know, I got scared right here. I got too scared. I was gonna buy some leaps, but I think if it revisits this zone, this 23 zone on GDX, I may enter a small leap position. I'm not sure yet which vehicle I want to use. I'm not sure if I want to use JNUG, GDX, GDXJ, which is the junior gold miners, or even silver. I think silver miners will do well too. But yeah, if it comes back down, retests this, I might go for a long. I should have gone long here. I knew I should have. But I didn't. I didn't have the discipline to go through with my plan. That's part of discipline. Part of discipline is knowing when to sit out, but also it's knowing when to enter, having the conviction to enter and going through with your plan. I did not have my discipline. I got scared. Okay, I let emotions cloud my judgment, and I should have went long here. That would have been good. We would have been up like 60-70% already on those leaps. Well, at least for JNUG. I think it'd be a little bit less for GDX. But I think more like 30-40%. But still, that's a pretty good gain for a very easy hold. Okay. Not a very easy entry though. So I guess in all fairness to myself, this was not a very easy place to enter. At least psychologically, it wasn't. Should have taken it, but didn't. We'll see if we get a pullback. If we do, I may attempt that long. All right, especially since the dollar is rolling over like this. Speaking of the dollar, I still have that plan, guys, at around 104 or so. High 103s, low 104s, around this zone. I am going to go long on the dollar. Okay, I will go long on the dollar. UUP via UUP. This is what I'm going to use. Most likely, I mean, it just really depends on the skew, but I might go for leaps. I might go for some in-the-money leaps, anywhere from 200 to maybe 200 to 400 days out. Maybe the June 2023, the January 2024, perhaps a January 2024. That actually looks like it is fair. We'll see. It really just depends on what happens when the dollar index goes to 104, and I just want to know what the IVs look like. Obviously, I'm going to try to go for something that has a lower IV, but if we go with the June, like some of these don't look so bad, like the 27s. 27 wouldn't be so bad. Well, that right. I mean, this thing would, at that point, it would probably be less. So we're looking at what, 28. It probably would be like 26, 25. By the time the dollar index is at 104. So yeah, so we'll see. Okay, but I am looking at getting some longer dated calls on UUP if the dollar drops, and again, that level. We've mentioned this level a couple of times over the past couple of weeks, but it's that 103, 104 zone, 103.8 to 104. Let's say, yeah, to 104. So after it goes down below 104, that's when I'm going to start looking to buy those leaps. Okay, but not yet. Okay, and I think that would be the bottom in dollar. That price dollar, it probably comes back down. We see a little bit of a rally. This takes a few weeks to really curl back up, and then we see a higher high in the dollar. At least that's what I'm anticipating. I'm not trying to predict the future here, but we will see. Okay, we'll see. Next, so that's the dollar. Let's look at some rates. For those of you who are joining us on YouTube live right now, I'm noticing that my upload link speed is slowing down. I don't know what's going on. I think there's some connection issues in my area right now here in the West Coast. I'm noticing servicing dropping and starting. So you may be getting some choppy live feeds, but rest assured I'll put up a recording when this is all done. Okay, so one of our liquidity datas that I wanted to actually share with you guys was our junk bonds ADL. Our junk bonds ADL right now is actually, we got 4 days in a row of positives now. We got 4 days of advances over declines. So generally when that happens, we see a rush of liquidity in the junk bonds market. That trickles down into stocks. So I already changed my plan on some of my trades. For example, Ethereum. Instead of taking all of the profit at 1650, I'm only going to take a third of the profits at 1650, another third at around that 2000, that 1900 to 2000 zone. So I've already changed my plan when it comes to Ethereum because of this. All right, the liquidity data is improving. I'm not going to say it's the MOAB yet. For it to be the MOAB, we need this the line to get back to the June, July levels. All right, and so that's going to take some time. All right, that'll take at least like a few weeks. If it can make a higher high and then a higher low, that would be the start of the MOAB. That, okay, and the New York high-low line. And the New York high-low line is actually starting positive again. It's starting to flatten out, okay? If this flattens out and starts curving up, we might see a sustained bear market rally. If this goes up over all the moving averages and also makes a higher low, that would be another part of the MOAB signal. So we need a higher low on this. We also need a higher high, higher low on our junk bonds ADL. That would be the MOAB signal. We are not there yet. It's still at least, I would say, a few weeks away if this were to be the time to do that. I don't know. Okay, this might just flatten out and then just continue down, just like it did in the summer, just like it did in April, May. So, I'm not going to try to predict when this is going to curve up, but when it does, rest assured, I'm going to know about it because I look at this on a daily basis. New York advanced decline line, it is starting to move up. We're starting to see more breadth in the market, as evident by the equal weighted S&P 500. We're also seeing that now coming up as well, too. Okay. As far as our other junk bonds indicators, the MOVE index, which is the VIX of the bond market, it is starting to come back down. It's still elevated, but at least it's backing off from its highs. TIP, TLT, it is dropping down. I would say we need to close under like 104 zone, under this zone right here, 105, 104, in order for it to be considered a false breakout. So if it can, on the monthly chart, if we can get below this 104 zone right here by October 31st, that would be a monthly false breakout. So we could actually see this fall down, and that would put some tailwind, at least for the NASDAQ as well too. Most of this right now is in, most of the strength right now is in the value side. So the Dow is doing really well. Russell is also doing well after the June rebalance. The Russell is actually mostly value companies now. There's more value than growth in the Russell. So right now we're seeing value really outperforming growth, as evident also by our IVE chart, which is our growth to value chart. So as you can see here, this is coming down. If this is coming down, Dow is favored. If it's going up, the NASDAQ is the favored index. So right now it's going down. It's gapping down today. So right now it does look like relative strength is in the value names. All right. So ZF also, I told you guys to take a look at ZF from a few weeks ago. ZF is the 5-year Treasury futures. We're starting to see it bounce up. However, short-term rates are still quite high. They are backing off from their highs, but we really want to see this come down a bit more. If we see the 5-year and the 2-year really coming down, we could see the dollar start accelerating more to the downside, and that would lift the ceilings on any asset that is priced in dollars. All right, so U.S. indices, would have some tailwind, and they would really love this. So we'll see what happens. Again, my plan hasn't changed yet. I did explore the idea of shorting at around 3,900 instead of that 4,150 because of the 4 days in a row of the advanced decline line advances over declines on our junk bonds ADL. I will remain with the original plan of buying puts at that 41.25 zone. At that 41.25 zone, that's really where I'm going to lean into some puts, okay? This is the same zone that we saw options hitting here. This is the same zone where we lost on June 9th after that surprise ECB meeting, and we saw like extreme hedging. It's the same zone. We saw that here too. We saw that here back in August as well too. We saw this zone being tested again in September as well too. All right, so this zone has been where we've seen a lot of hedging happening, and I think that happens again. If we get to that zone, I think we see some hedging happening again right at that zone. Okay. So it makes risk management very easy. We buy puts here. If we're wrong, if it closes 2 or 3 days above it, we get out at a small loss. So again, 3 to 6 month out, put vertical debit spreads, make the gamma really low. So if we're wrong, okay, so be it. We take a small loss and we exit. If we're right, we hold on and we take it all the way down. If it does start selling off from 41.25, I'll probably start taking profits at around that 3,700 zone. Okay, so that's a good 300 points. So even at that point at 41.25, most likely we're going to be buying puts. I'm probably going to be buying QQQ puts as long as this ratio chart IVW IVE is still going down. I'm going to be using QQQ when the S&P 500 gets to around that 41.25 zone. Okay, so my plan still hasn't changed in regarding that. All right, the only thing that I changed my plan on was ETH, where I take my profits, and Ethereum. All right, so that's the only thing that has changed. Let's take a look at some of our stocks. UUUU is going to have our earnings pretty soon. Oh, it's backing down. Thank goodness. So I still have those that's collar trade that I did. Ugh, in hindsight, I kind of wish I didn't. I sold those covered calls at the 7 covered calls, and I bought the 5 puts with it. Those 5 puts are almost worthless. I really don't want to get my shares assigned away, but it is what it is if it happens. If it happens, it happens. But right now, that is how my current positioning looks like on UUUU. On HUT, what's going on with HUT? HUT is still kind of in this zone. I would really like to see higher levels before selling covered calls. I'm kind of skittish when it comes to selling covered calls just because I sold some covered calls here and I thought I was a genius until this happened. That really got me scared. So I don't know if this is the right zone. I think we might have one last push. Like again, right as that S&P 500 gets to 4125 or so, this could push up to like the 3s, just like we saw in August. So that would be ideal. But I'm also seeing that it looks like implied volatility just shot up today. That's very interesting. The implied volatility on HUT just went way up. Why is that? I don't know why it just shot up like that today. Did they announce that they're going to have earnings soon? Is that what it is? There's no news on it. Okay, so we'll see. I don't know why. I don't know why that's happening. I'll try to explore and try to report to you guys why this is going on. Crypto, let's take a look at the crypto market. We are seeing increased open interest in options trading. Okay, we're starting to see a lot more participation. Now we're at $7.5 billion. Remember, we were in the 5s, then we went into the 6s, now we're in the 7s. So once we get into the 7s or so, that's when the options market could have a pull on Ethereum prices. And again, we're seeing the same pattern as yesterday. Those October 28th and November 11th, that's where we're seeing a lot of our action. And if we look at the gamma positioning, it's shifted yet again. Okay, so more orders are coming in. It's shifting the gamma positioning in the market. So we still have that negative at 1450, so that part hasn't changed, but we're starting to see higher gammas and higher strikes, most likely because we're probably seeing more calls entering the market. I will verify that together. So look at this. Look at all this positive gamma. It's on the 28th. Where is that negative gamma coming from? It is at strike 1450. So 1450. Okay, a lot of that negative gamma has rolled over into now November 4th. So we got positive gamma until the end of this week, and then for next week we've got some negative gamma at 1450. Not a lot. Mostly it's positive gamma. So I would even say that this is not that big of a deal. It's mostly here. All this call buying, I'm sure this is call buying. It's probably out the money call buying, or in the money and out the money call buying that's happening probably for the 28th. Let's just confirm that together, guys. So it just shifted. I remember yesterday how we said that the gamma positioning shifted by 100 points. So it looks like those gammas, but now we're also seeing some gammas and higher strikes increasing as well too. So yeah, so open interest is still mostly in calls. 24-hour volume. 24-hour volume. That is sell puts, buy puts, sell calls, buying calls. So yeah, as we can see here, a lot of the transactions is call buying. However, we're also seeing people selling puts. Okay, so selling puts on the 28th and buying calls. Interesting. All right. On the 28th. Okay. And what about on the 11th? 11th is mostly put buying. So there's some put buying happening on the 11th. and on the 28th. Also call buying though. So we're, there's probably a lot of speculation going on in the short term. All right. That's very interesting. 24-hour OI by expiration, we're seeing a lot more puts. Okay, so it looks like actually puts, we're seeing a lot more activity in puts than usual. So let's take a look at what's going on. Maybe there's some block trades in puts. I know right as the market opens, sometimes we see some of those block trades happening. Volume from the previous day, volume by expiration. So it does look like a lot of calls, but usually it's heavily favored in calls. But today it doesn't seem that way. It seems more like we're seeing also some puts being bought and sold as well too. Regular trades are mostly still in calls, but block trades are seeing more put volumes. Interesting. Okay, so block trades are doing more puts, but regular trades are in more calls. So let's see if there's any big block trades, and let's see which side of the fence block trades are on. Block trades, non-liquidations, all of them. Oh wow, we're seeing actually large call block trades. Look at this, 10,000. What is that? It is a calendar. They're selling the December 1800 and bought the 1800 in January. So for a net debit of about $400,000. For a net debit of $400,000, it is they're bearish until December and then bullish after the start of the year. Interesting. So they're trying to just harvest a little bit of time value in IV to pay for some January calls. Very interesting. Okay, so we're seeing the biggest block trades still in calls. We're seeing some put sells, calls being sold, puts being sold. And more put sells here too. So it looks like actually, so it looks like, yeah, so some put selling, and then we saw volume in put buying in the shorter expirations. That must be retail trades or non-block trades. For October 28th, for October 28th, let's actually take a look at this. We haven't seen this in a while. Let's actually take a look at this together. We don't need the sizes. We just need the volumes and the open interest. Very good. Okay, so calls. Yeah, right here we got a lot of calls on 1600. So 1500 and 1600. So 1600 right here, we saw a large positive gamma. So positive gamma. So maybe if the dealers have positive gamma, that means that maybe this is a zone where a lot of traders are short some calls. It could be, okay. It could be that they're short calls right here. So that's interesting. So if there's a lot of short calls here, are we going to see short covering happening here by retail? That would be interesting if we saw that. I don't think so. I think what may happen is on those and that the positive gamma side, we might actually just see it pinned between that 16 and 1500. That's very likely, where we're just going to bounce between 15 and 1600 for the rest of the week. I don't think retail is going to cover. They're most likely they're just going to get liquidated like they usually do, and that's just the pattern that we've been noticing with retail trades. For the week after, or for 2 weeks out, we saw a lot of November 11th. We could see the same thing here too. It looks like a lot of the volume in OI is actually around here in this zone here. We're seeing a lot of 1500s as well too. So that might be, so again, 1500 was a positive gamma zone. So are people short, are retail traders short the 1500 calls? That would be interesting if they are. But that's where we have the positive, dealer gamma right here. So for them, that means they bought. That means somebody had to sell it to them, right? So we'll see. I don't think that's on the put side. I think it's mostly on the call side. Yeah, I think it's mostly on the call side right here, evident by the larger OI on the 1500 side. So okay, so yeah, so this a lot of this OI probably is short calls, and that would be a positive gamma for the dealers. So yeah, so I think it's just gonna bounce around 15 to 1600 for a bit, just based on options positioning, unless new order flow comes in. So if the OI starts going into the 8 billions, 8.5 billions, then no, it may knock it out of that range. But so far, as long as that OI stays in that range, I think we can expect this kind of bouncing between 15 and 1600 zone. All right, and again, my plan still hasn't changed. I think if liquidity data drastically improves, we may see a lot more order flow coming through on Deribit and on all these exchanges, and that might make the make the price of Ethereum drift a little bit higher. So that's what I expect on the crypto market. Anything else you guys want to look at? Oh, I see some questions. Can you look at RTY? Something is happening. What's going on with RTY? RTY is up. Yeah. I'm telling you, RTY, the small cap index, is a very strong index. After that June rebalance, a lot of the Russell stocks are now they're actually value stocks now. Okay, most of them are value stocks. So that's very interesting that a lot of that is value. And they're actually, that IVE chart, that's been spot on in showing RTY strength as well as Dow strength. So whenever the IVE was going down, we saw relative strength in small caps ever since June or so. So I think it's that value versus growth. And right now, just after that June rebalance, Russell just got way higher quality as an index. And again, when the MOAB happens, I might be buying leaps on the Russell. Okay, when the MOAB happens, because it's such a strong index. I think it's a very strong index. Also, one thing I noticed too was the some of the miners have been doing very well. Crypto miners. I don't know if that has anything to do with RTY having relative strength as well too. That's something that I need to study a little bit more, and I just need some more verification on. But something that is actually actionable from all this. So we might see that, still that we might see that, that the miners outperform the actual coin itself. Again, I'll study that a little bit more. But again, Russell, very strong index. It's an incredibly strong index. That's funny though how it's backing off from this line. I drew that many years ago. Yeah, I drew this back in 2019, 2020. I never changed this. That's very interesting. These levels worked out perfectly. I never touched this 2019. That's crazy. I'm going to have to explore this more. I'm not sure what I drew this on. I don't know if these were valuation lines or what. If this was a valuation channel. It seems something that I would have done back then. These valuation channels, I was like obsessed with them back in 2018, 2019. But it's crazy how it's working out now. Okay, well, I'll explore that more too. Anything else you guys want to look at? And again, guys, if you're joining us on YouTube or Twitch, for some reason in our area here in Los Angeles, we're getting some connection issues here. So again, I'm going to post the video up on YouTube. I have a recording of it that's recorded to my hard drive. So I'll put that up there pretty soon. So that wraps up our session of the Morning Market Memo. Our Discord invitation link is in the description. Come join our Discord. Be a part of our growing community. There's no sub fees, no paywalls. It's of the people, by the people, for the people. And if you enjoyed our video, hit like, follow, subscribe, comment. Show us some love, baby. All right, I'll try to make another video for you guys tomorrow with updates on the earnings from McDonald's and also PPC as well. Also, I'll be looking over Apple and Amazon tonight. I'll try to report to you guys maybe tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon. We'll have a short session. And then next week, we'll go back to our regular programming schedule, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, New York Stock Exchange Open. Hope to see you guys then. Trade safe. Have a great day, guys.